The next one I wanted to share with you is the environment right now in Israel. As we heard, in the last 10 years, high-tech was the best sector. Everyone talked about high-tech, but it's more than that. It became like a pop culture in Israel. So startups are now something that are very mainstream. So people talk about they want to start a company, sell a company. Too many want to sell the company, but still we talk about it. It's part of the culture. And I put here some examples where TV shows, and in Israel there are only like 4 real original TV series or TV channels going on. TV shows about the right-hand side is called The Sharks, and it's about people who go to a reality show and try and raise money in front of a panel, and they actually get the money at the end if they convince them. On the left side, it's another show about a number of people that started a company and sold it, and so on and so on. It's part of the culture. When we sold our company, the first one, that was the title of the main economic press in Israel, full page, people trying to guess how much everyone made, and everyone is smiling and happy. It doesn't matter, it serves an important goal. It's legitimate to start a company, it's legitimate to take a risk, it's part of the culture. I think it makes a difference. Ecosystem, we heard about VCs, but something that is very important, and I think Guy will touch on that. We have now in Israel the second and third generations of people that started a company, moved to the next one, and the second one, the third one, people that worked in companies, and that brings talent. And that, with money and the right environment, is very helpful to start more and more companies. And in the last couple of years, the government did something right, and they reduced the tax for options. If you have an option as an Israeli startup, the tax is only 25%. So it's similar like capital gains, but on any amount of options you have, unlike here that ISOs are limited by a certain amount. Actually, skip this one. That's another interesting point, I think, to Israeli companies compared to American companies. We target, understand, and can access both Europe and the US. I can tell you, both companies I've been in, and I've seen many others, it's as easy to get into London than it is to get to New York, unlike American companies or European companies. The British companies or the European companies have challenges penetrating the US, and the Americans don't really acknowledge the existence of some countries outside the US in early stages. And again, I'm saying it bluntly and politely, but that's what I've seen in many companies. They go local, they go domestic, and that helps. If a company is successful, you have 2 beachheads, and you can play each other. And with recession and so on, it's very, very effective. And last, and I have 2.5 minutes, last is people. And I think that's really the most important aspect at the end of the day. I can't really explain it. I'll give you my own theory in a second. And I've interviewed a lot of people just, day to day when we do business. We have a very, very good talent pool in Israel. Also, ex-Israel is here. They have something in their DNA that makes them very loyal, very hardworking. Not sure if it's the military or not, but very hardworking. And we're just strong people to have, strong candidates. In addition, when you're based in Israel, the fact we speak additional languages because of their parents and immigration and so on, and are willing to relocate is, again, very helpful when you start a company. I'm not sure how unique it is to Israel, but again, people I see, and I would love to hear other feedback in the panel later, is just a very, very good talent pool. And my own theory is the army. And I'll give you just some examples. In a way, every employee I hire in Israel is already pre-filtered. Someone looked for all the talent in the country, and looked almost at every citizen in the country, trained them, and tested them in the field. And I can tell you my own story. When I was 18, I got a $2 million software budget and a goal. They locked me in a room and said, "Good luck." I'm serious. That was the process. And I had some software background before the army. They found me, brought me in, and told me, "That's the problem, go and solve it." So I think that's a major reason. And it's not only people doing software in the military. When we started Sayota, the first company, we had 6 people. 2 of them were from commander units. They ran on the hills with weapons and everything else. But they had some discipline and some training and some structure and some maturity. I guess that's almost it. And some maturity to them that was very, very important to the business. And I'll end with one slide, just this one. The last aspect of the military, which I think is very important, is that it creates a network, a very close, tight, personal network of relevant people. Think about you having access somehow to almost every person in the US, going with all of them to school, maybe different disciplines, but going with all of them to the same school, through the same process. And that network is very valuable. It's refreshed often when you go to reserve duty and so on. And just pulled from LinkedIn, this is my last slide, an example, colleagues from IDF, and I took a sample. I chose the right sample. Some of them were actually not in the software business, but still, you can just find people that you know someone that knows them. And it's a huge advantage that does not exist in that magnitude here in the US and some other countries. And with that, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Amir. Our next speaker is Ori Gilliam, the CEO of ICQ and head of AOL Messaging.